Hello, good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a video for beginners. Nice one for getting on a mat or just getting on your carpet to at least try and move your body and try the beginners session. So they are sort of basic yoga poses which we're just going to practice. There's going to be no flow, and hopefully it will target sort of the big areas of tightness in your body, such as your hips, your hamstrings. We'll go into inversions, hip openers, lovely long hamstring stretches, and we'll focus on the abdominal area as well, just to activate our core. Obviously, if you have any injuries or you've been advised not to move, then please don't. And it's always good to speak with your doctor to assess whether yoga and gentle moving is suitable for you. So please don't take any risks by trying this video. If you're apologies, bless me. If you're not comfortable at moving, if you practice yoga and you fancy this video as a gentle session, then I hope you enjoy. Right, so let's start. We're going to come to the top third of our mat, and we are going to come into something called a forward fold. So Uttanasana. So let us begin here. Now, because it's early morning here, and it might be early morning for yourselves, let's keep the feet apart now. Normally forward fold will be done with the feet together, but we'll do it with our feet slightly apart. So bring your feet slightly apart, facing the front of the mat. And all we're going to do here is have the knees slightly bent. So this just helps to take the pressure off the hamstrings if they are tight. But all we're going to do is take the right hand into the left elbow crease and the left hand into the right elbow crease. And we're just going to fold here. And we're just going to hang, and we are going to let the crown of the head come down towards the floor. And we are just hanging here, feeling it in our hamstrings, in our lower back, just to warm up. Nothing strenuous. You might even be here. You might want to put your hands on your thighs. Okay, but just moving from side to side in a way that feels nice for you. And you can start to really pedal out this Uttanasana by bending and straightening the knees, keeping the crown of the head down, really lengthening through the spine and the hamstrings. Making sure the weight is evenly distributed in the feet. We don't want to be too far forward in our toes or too far forward in our heels. But you can see how moving backwards and forwards can assist in knowing where to keep the hands. You might feel tighter in one hamstring than the other, and that's absolutely fine. I'm actually tighter in my right hamstring because I have a little inflamed bursa sac at the back of my knee from a knee operation quite a few years ago, so I really have to work into my right side of my hamstring just to get some space here. So take your time, there is no rush. For me, yoga is about longevity. Yoga is about being able to move my body as I age more comfortably. I want to get out of bed and have them, as little aches and pains as possible. So bring yourselves up now to those straight legs. Suck the belly in and just hold it here. This is called a halfway lift. So we want a nice flat back, and we want to feel it a little more in those hamstrings. Bend the knees here. So really bend the knees here and just take hold behind the heels, or it might be behind the knees. But you're going to really fold yourself in half here. Lower the crown of the head down. And try and get the belly to your back. Okay, from here, you're going to keep the knees bent as you lift up, coming into Tadasana. So Tadasana is mountain pose, it's a standing pose. And we bring our feet together here and our hands out to the side. Hold it here, shoulders down, and just hold it here, close your eyes. Squeeze the glutes. Together you want to be able to push the hips forward. So we're not dumping everything into our lower part of our spine. Holding it here, breathing. You can keep the eyes closed if you're able to balance. The feet are together, the knees are together, the glutes are active. The shoulders have come up towards our ears, but they are releasing down the back body. And we're just holding it here into this. Breathing. Already starting to feel better by stretching off our hamstrings. Taking ourselves into an inversion as well. You've just completed your first inversion. Well done. We're taking the head lower than the heart. And then all I want you to do now is just come to a kneeling position. Now, when we come into a kneeling position, we need the knees to be comfortable. I'm really big on keeping the health of the knees at top notch. So if we need a cushion under both knees, or you want a pillow or something padded, absolutely fine. And all I want us to do here is get a lovely tabletop position here on all fours. The hands, the wrists are directly underneath the shoulders, and the knees are directly underneath the hips. And what we don't want to do is come into it and just kind of sink down like this and dump everything into our lumbar spine. We are nice and even, so there has to be an element of core here. You have to suck the belly button to our spine and have this nice and even and this nice and even. This is how we start tabletop. Now, just to warm up the wrists, see if we can do it. We're going to tuck the toes under, and I want you to slightly come off your knees. Like, lift the knees by, I don't know, a centimetre, okay? Keep the arms nice and engaged, nice and locked. Okay, the knees come off for a centimetre off the mat, and we're holding. Move it forward and move it back, but we're just warming up those wrists, ready for downward facing dog in a moment. And then come down. Lift up. Give the wrists a little shake, remove any tension. You can circle the wrists, the shoulders. Works into the arms, the upper arms, works into the core. Let's try that again. Tuck the toes under, lift off the knees. Let's go. 1 centimetre off the ground. Hold it here, squeeze the belly in. Rock forwards into the wrists, rock forwards back. Rock back. So forwards into the wrists, rock back into, more into the toes, into the feet. You get a lovely stretch across the soles of the feet. Lower the knees down. Bring yourselves up. Shake, shake, shake. Bit of tension. We'll do that one more time. Lower through the hands. Nice, even, neutral, all fours position. Tuck the toes under, lift off the knees. Squeeze the belly button to the spine. Really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hover those knees off the ground. Hover, hover, hover. And lower down. Bring the big toes together. So big toes together. Sit back on those if that's okay to do so. We can just come into a seated cross-legged position if we struggle to do this posture. No issues. We sit back here. We can always put a cushion under here and a cushion under the other one just to help if we do have knee issues. And then keeping that connection, the bottom of the feet, we're going to bring ourselves forward into child's pose. So we don't lift our bum up, we keep the bum back, we lower down, belly to ground, chest to ground. Arms nice and straight, lower the forehead down. So we're just going to stay here just for a couple of breaths before we come into downward facing dog. And we don't relax our forearms down, so if you've just come into this naturally, here, we keep the forearms off, we keep the elbows off. We are always pushing this mat away to just assist with our child's pose. We can move from side to side if that feels nice. Breathe in here, nice and deep, and exhale. can walk those hands back up. And all we're going to do now is come into downward facing dog. Now, there's a lot of people when they're trying yoga for the first time that obviously the body's always going to go with the path of least resistance, isn't it? You always want to choose that easier option for the body. If there's a pose that you can do, you will go into the posture that feels most comfortable for the body. And downward dog is one of those because it's an it is an inversion, but we're stretching off the entire body. It's working into the arms, working into the hamstrings. You're upside down, pretty much. So the body's going to want to choose the easiest way to do downward facing dog that feels most comfortable. So a lot of people go into it and it looks like this. I'm going to emphasize it, but we really want to move away from this shape, okay? So if you're coming up and into downward facing dog like this, where your feet are flat here, and I can't even do it, but like this, can you see my back? Can you see how it looks out of alignment here? Yes, my feet are flat, but it doesn't matter about that. Please don't worry about it. Even to this day, my heels sometimes don't come down. If I'm incredibly tight, like I said, I've got an injury behind my knee, they're not going to come down easy. So please don't worry about that. And I've been practicing since I was 18 and I'm now 36. So don't worry about that. What you want is you want to get the opening on the upper back. So if I show you how I come into it, I place my hands at the front, shoulder width apart. So you're not bringing the hands too close. You're not having the hands over here. You're having them shoulder width apart, okay? And I come in from downward facing dog. I tuck my toes under and I drive my bottom to the back, okay? Now, I like to keep my knees bent to start because it feels nice for my back. Now, I'm pulsing into this position. Have a look at my upper back. This is how it should look. Constantly trying to get this lovely straight line through my back, opening through my back, opening through all the way to the top of my back. So you don't want to be rounded. We encourage in what we do day to day with sitting at a desk, driving the car, carrying bags, carrying children. It's all bringing this forward. So we end up with a really rounded back, or some people end up like a rounded back, or their posture is terrible. So we want to work at opening it up. We want to work at improving our posture. Therefore, we come here and we work at this. So all I want you to do is work on this. Pushing the front of the mat away and bringing your back into this position. Now, once we've got this and we feel like we're bringing our chest to our thighs, we can work at straightening the legs. Okay? Come down onto your knees. Remove any tension. I know this is a beginner's class, so you can hold that for as long as you want. If you were happy and comfortable holding that for a little bit longer, you can do. If that was enough, you come onto your knees. We're going to go back up into it. Every time we come into it and we stretch off, it starts to feel a little easier. Okay, so please don't worry if it feels like hell. I remember doing my first downward facing dog, and I remember thinking, oh God, this isn't like weights or like running on a treadmill. I actually find running on a treadmill and circuit training, or going for a very fast-paced run, much easier than yoga. And this is why I love yoga so much. It really, really does challenge me because it's not something that I'm naturally comfortable with. And a lot of people find that the benefits from yoga outweigh any type and any form of exercise I've ever done. So you're running, you're sprinting, your circuit training, your weightlifting. Yes, there are benefits to them, but yoga for me outweighs the benefits. All of that, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just outweighs all the benefits, and really complements them as well. If you do something at the side, this complements the activities that you'll do. So let's lift up and come into downward facing dog again. So push into your upper back, try and stretch off that upper body as much as you possibly can, really stretching through the hamstrings. And pedaling those feet down. lower onto your knees. Shake everything off. Okay, so what we can do now is we can come into a low lunge from downward facing dog. But what we're going to do is we will come into it from an all fours position. When we move on to crescent lunge, we'll come into it from downward facing dog. So come into an all fours position. All I want you to do here is step that left foot to the front of the mat. So step it and bring yourselves into a low lunge. So we step that left foot forward. We are on our right knee. Now this is a nice right angle, isn't it? We've stepped into a right angle here. Hands can come onto hips. What I'd like you to do now is try pushing into the right hip. So we might have to move the foot forward. Or that right knee back. But I just want you to bring yourselves into a nice low lunge. So you might be here. That might be enough. You might feel that deep in the hip, deep in the psoas. That's fine. Or we can work pushing ourselves forward. Okay. Just holding it here and just sort of experimenting how that feels in that right hip. Now all I want you to do here is lift the right arm up. Again, if this is too much, you can keep your hands on the hips. If you really want to try going a little further, we lift that left arm up. And here you have a lovely low lunge. Hold it here, gazes forward. Reaching through the torso, lifting that energy up towards the ceiling, up towards the sky. Pulse here, really bounce into that right hip if it feels nice. And bring the hands to the hips. Bring yourself back into a right angle and step it back to an all fours position. This time we're going to bring that right foot forward. So bring right foot forward into a nice right angle position. Hands onto hips and bring yourselves forward. So again, stretching into that left hip now. Might be here, might be enough. Or you might want to really bring it forward. Gazes forward. We don't want to bring the torso with, as we push forward, we want to keep that torso stacked above our hip. And let's see how it feels to bring our left arm up. And our right arm up. Low lunge. Good. Hands onto hip. Step it back. We're going to come downward facing dog now, and we're going to come into crescent lunge from downward facing dog. So bring the hands to where our position was for downward facing dog again. Tuck the toes under. Bring it into downward facing dog. And all I want you to do here is just step that left foot to the front of the mat. So you lift that left foot up, step it to the front. Now it might be when I first started yoga, my step to the front of the mat was this. You used to have to take hold, and I used to have to grab it to the front. Now we're going to come into crescent lunge. Crescent lunge means we are off that back knee. You can do a low lunge again if you want. We keep off that back knee. We lift ourselves. We can use the hands to help us up. We bring ourselves into a high lunge, crescent lunge. Drive down. Again, we don't want the body coming forward, we want it stacked. Let's lift that right arm. Let's lift that left arm. Hold it here. Hold. Let's lower down. Hands onto hips, hands can come onto thighs, hands can come down to the ground, and we sweep that left foot back. Or, if we are here, and we are able to, we bring the hands to the side of that left foot. Step it back into downward facing dog. Like so. Hold it here. Let's bring that right foot to the front of the mat. So you might just get it to there. If it comes to here, fine. Drag it to the front. Otherwise, you are lifting it up, bringing the knee as high up towards the chest and the belly, compressing it in, and stepping it forward. Keeping off the back left knee. Inhale. sinking down. Opening through that left hip, feeling the stretch into the stomach perhaps. That's absolutely fine, I can feel it about here. Stretching all the way across the front of my hip. Holding it here. Bringing the hands to the sides of that right foot or lowering down by holding onto the thigh. Downward facing dog. Pedal the feet off here. You should be getting a little warmer now, feeling it in the hamstrings and the lower back. Now I'm going to have my back to you for a moment now as I bring my left foot forward. We're going to come into Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. So, left foot comes to the front of the mat. If it's only come halfway, grab it. Again, lifting onto that thigh or lifting up, you're going to take the back foot to 90 degrees. Have a quick look at my back foot now. 90 degrees, it comes flat. Lift yourself up. Warrior Two. Now, what you want is, have a look at your front heel. Does that front heel, if it was to run all the way down, does it connect with the middle part of the instep of your back foot, which is at 90 degrees? And that, if it does, you've got the correct alignment. Bend down as opposed to forward. Bend down, arms lift up. Hold here. Check your back arm. You want them parallel with your shoulders. And your gaze point, where you take your eyes, is the middle finger on the left hand. Hold it here. Breathe. Let's lower down. We can lower down like so, or we can wheel the arms. Turn that foot back to face the front. Step it back, downward facing dog. Well done, you're doing super. You should feel a little burn in the legs here. Now we're going to step that right foot to the front of the mat. So we lift up this way, or we go from here. Turn that foot to the 90 degrees. Check your alignment, your heel. If you drew a straight line, we come to the middle part of that back left foot. Lift the arms to a nice parallel height, shoulder height, and sink down. Belly sucked in, bottom tucked under. We don't want to be squeezing our bum out, we want to tuck that bum under. Hold it here, breathe. That focal point is the middle finger on the right hand. From here, let's walk the hands back down that right thigh to downward facing dog, or wheel the arms. Hold it here in downward facing dog. Let's take that left leg back up to Warrior Two, so we can come into a three-legged dog here to sweep it through, or just step it, Warrior Two. And from here, we're going to come into side angle. So side angle, we can bring the left hand down to the inside of our left foot, like so. Bottom tucks under, right arm lifts up. Or we can come the left forearm to the left thigh. Hold it here. We're going a little bit further, left hand to the inside of that left foot, bottom under. And we can look up at the ceiling if it feels comfortable. Now this is a tough bit, this now. We lift up to Warrior Two. Hold it here, breathe. Exhale, big part of yoga is the breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Exhale, wheel the arms, downward facing dog. Let's take that right leg into a three-legged dog, or we can just step it forward. Coming into a warrior two. That foot turns to 90 degrees. We've got our alignment. We bend through that right knee. We lift the arms up. And we come into whichever of our side angles we want. So level one would be here, lifting up. Or if we are going for the full one, we take the right hand down and we're lifting up. Warrior two. Inhale, big muscle group please in a leg, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Let's wheel the arms or walk the arms down the thigh, step it back, downward facing dog. Hold here. From here, all I want you to do is come onto the knees. Big toes together, gap in the knees, and lower down through and into your child's pose. So make sure the bottom stays connected with the heels. Keep the forearms off the mat. Okay, and lifting up. Come onto your bottoms. So let's just do Janu Shirshasana. So let's just do our head to foot pose. So Janu Shirshasana is lovely to sort of finish off the session. There's loads of postures. I've only taught a few here, but this one's a nice one just to bring the heart rate down and to stretch again through the hamstrings. A lot of people struggle with those hamstrings, don't they? Including myself. So you are going to bring the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Please don't be tucking it under. It doesn't go on top. It just lightly touches your thigh, the inside of your thigh. We've got the right leg forward, the right toes are coming back towards the face, and that left knee comes as far down as is comfortable. Now, if it's not coming all the way down to the ground, then we can put pillows or a book underneath it, or a yoga block if you've got one, right underneath it. What you want to do is you want to turn your body to face over that right leg. And all we're going to do is take a nice deep breath in, and we're just going to bring yourself over to wherever you are comfortable. So I'm not going very far today. I'm just going to literally just bring my chest that little bit further forward, just so I get a lovely stretch down my right hamstring, feeling it in my lower back. Bringing my head as close towards my foot. If you want to go further, you can. I'm just going to keep it here for now, nice and gentle. Belly to spine. Making sure the toes are flexing back towards the face. Bringing yourself up, just crossing the feet very lightly, just twisting it out so that left hand comes to the back, the right hand to the left knee, just twist it out in the lower back and over to the other side. Over to the left hand side, over to the right hand side, and then that left leg extends out. And again, that right foot, the sole of the foot lightly presses against that left thigh. And we take a nice deep breath in here and we lengthen over. Right knee comes to the ground. We are just gently lengthening through and into that left hamstring. I can feel this in my lower back as well, which is lovely. Breathing in with every inhalation. We breathe in. We make sure we hold that position, and then the exhale, we lengthen if we can, just that little bit further over. Inhale, toes are flexing towards the face. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Okay, walk yourselves up again. Take yourself into a cross-legged position. Try and go the opposite way. I think I was this way. So your foot that was behind in the cross-legged position, take it so it's in front. Come over to the right-hand side to start. Twist, shoulders away from the ears. Back round. Let's do this side again. Inhale. Exhale. Last side. Okay, let's come down to our final posture. And all I want you to do is bring the knees in towards the chest. Relax the back and the head down. Knees coming to the chest. Now, you're going to bring the hands to a cross position. And I want you to let the left knee and the right knee, they should be stacked, completely come down to the left-hand side. Now keep that right shoulder on the ground, okay? We don't want that right shoulder lifted. So if we can get to the ground, great. Might have to readjust ourselves. And what we can do is with that right shoulder glued to the ground, keep it there. Take the left hand to the top right knee. And if you want to go further, it might be enough for you, but if you want to go further, we bring that right knee slightly over to come into more of a deep spinal twist. This is to release any tension that we might have caused in the forward fold, the downward facing dog, the Janu Shasana. Obviously, stretching off the hamstrings can put more pressure on the lower back if you want. That's where the connection is. So we want to just remove any tension in that lower back from our hamstring stretches. So really twist here, drive that right shoulder down. And we can take our gaze over to the right hand side, really to take our spine into more of a twisting position. A lovely twist on the belly as well. Okay, release, bring the knees up. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Again, bring the arms out into a cross position, keeping the left shoulders down. Twist into, and you might have to just readjust yourself. Keeping this glute down. Take that top left knee over and twist. Breathe here. Make sure that belly is sucked in. Left shoulder driving down. Last inhalation. Exhale, bring your knees back up to center. Now, this is where you can have a couple of moments to yourself in something called Shavasana or corpse pose relaxation. This is where we have our final posture. It's at the end of every single class for me, and it's so important. It's where the mind and the body come together. It's where we can focus on our body and see how we feel. But it's where we just sort of relax and succumb to our mat and just have those last few minutes to ourselves to really relax. I always think this part for me is where I can empty my cup, you know, that cup that we have where things get put in: family, work, kids, family stresses, all these stresses, road rage, all of that come into this cup, and eventually it overspills and we have, a big sort of emotional outburst. But I think yoga, once a week, twice a week, if you can do it 3 times a week, amazing. Or any form of exercise, I think, can empty this cup out, or a bath or anything like that, any sort of self-care. and then things start to just come out, and you build yourself some freedom in that cup to allow for things to come in, because you can take it. And the way the Western world is now, it's a very fast-paced, sort of stressful life that most of us have. So it's really important that we always give ourselves, you know, a good area for stressful things to come in, so we don't overspill, we don't overflow. So we come into our final resting posture with our legs out down towards the ground. The feet just fall out to the side. The hands come upwards, so the palms facing upwards to the sky, the ceiling. The shoulders are relaxed. And because we've stretched off that and twisted that spine, it should feel wonderful. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Out through the nose. Apologies. It's always in through the nose and out through the nose. We just rest here. I like to scan my body. I like to see how I'm feeling, and I like to just completely relax. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Take a nice deep breath in. Stretch the arms over the head. Bring the knees to the chest and rock forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Bring yourselves into a seated position. Obviously your Shavasana, you can have it as long as you want. You can hold it there for 10, 15 minutes if you want. Whatever you feel as though you need, just hold it there. So hopefully you enjoyed this beginner's session. If you want to leave a comment, you can do, or get some feedback back to me. That's wonderful. And yeah, there's loads of videos on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram. It's the same name. It's YogaU, which is YoGoreu. So yeah, give us a follow. Thank you very much.